Yes,
that was Aaron Rodgers trying to temper expectations last year. Even though everyone knew the reason why you were brought over here. You are the reason, you are the missing piece to what we feel like is in your words, an S-Bob team.
There we go.
Yeah. And so when I look at Aaron Rodgers right now, and I know everybody's like, oh, he's old, and he's coming off injury. I said all those things. However, we don't need, and they don't need Aaron Rodgers to be MVP version of Aaron Rodgers. What they need him to be is more than what they got and have had in the past. They will get that out of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
My point. They will get that out of Aaron Rodgers. And the fact that he is being truthful about what the situation is, saying it's on me. This is solely on me. He's not passing the buck. He's not dismissing it. He's clearly stating the obvious of why this coaching staff still has a job and why this team is configured the way they are. Because it's on me. The expectations, I'm 10 toes down. I own it. I shoulder it. We're going to get this done.
I agree. And that was a great clip from last year with Douglas and Saleh. But when I started thinking, the Jets might be pretty good, was when Rodgers, with his opening press conferences before that with Saleh and those guys, when he was talking about that trophy looks lonely. Like he was embracing kind of the pressure even last year. And so, look, I know he's 40 years old. We all have to admit, it's not automatic, and most players it won't be the case. But we do have to admit that today, guys can be better longer.
Yes.
All right, so it wouldn't be shocking if at 40 years old he goes out there and actually plays well. I'm not saying MVP level, but if he's 90% of that, if he's somewhere in between the Rodgers we saw at the end of Green Bay and the MVP Rodgers, then this is a very good team. You know, so and what he said about the pressure, it is. All those guys are probably going to be gone.
Okay, well, all right, but first, my struggle is I'm yet to have anyone explain to me why he should be better than his last year in Green Bay.
I agree.
That's the piece.
Can I give a couple?
Yeah,
quick?
Sure, please.
One, he's taking part in the offseason workouts, which he didn't do in Green Bay at the end. He didn't seem to have any love for the young receiver.
Sure.
So I would say that. And I also think, like Greg said, he seems more all in and he's embracing the pressure.
Maybe his thumb was jacked up.
Thumb was broken.
Yeah, okay, well, the thumb was, I don't know if the thumb was broken. The thumb was, I know, that year, I mean, Dak broke his thumb and missed 6 weeks. Aaron didn't miss any games, so he had a thumb issue, sure, that's fine. If the last time we saw him playing was MVP, and then he popped his Achilles, and it was just about the Achilles and the age, I'd be a little more optimistic. But we saw him play a year post-MVP, and he was mediocre. But the other issue I have with the comment is so multi-layered. First of all, it is a wild thing to say. I'm just asking how you two would feel. I'm not Aaron Rodgers of this show, but let's just say, if I was doing an interview, I'm like, listen, I just come to work every day and I know if I don't perform, we're all fired. Like if I don't produce, Brew, Greg, Wildes, everybody's looking for a job. Yeah, it's on me.
I don't think I hear you. Look,
I wouldn't say that about DeMonze on the podcast.
He's right, though.
Okay, wait,
right.
Brew.
Aaron Rodgers is absolutely right. We all know it.
So go ahead, Greg.
Prior to him making this statement, what we were saying about this coaching staff, this entire coaching staff, the reason why they did not get fired is because this experiment hadn't had a chance to be laid out.
Right. So that then brings me why I said it's multi-layered. If what he's saying is true, then they are making a grievous error keeping those people in place. If it's like, well, these guys only have a job because Aaron prefers it. When we think that they're going to be fired, they're on this close to being fired, then they should have been fired. Firing Robert Saleh or Nat Hackett or both of them doesn't cost you Aaron Rodgers, theoretically. It shouldn't. He wants to play. He turned down the opportunity to be the vice president of the United States in order to play for this football team. You're saying, so what we're saying is, I just want to make sure I have it right, is that we are going to believe in the Jets under the premise of that Rodgers 2 years ago could have been better but wasn't bought in enough. This year is going to be better under the preconditions of things that are not supposed to be in control of the quarterback he gets to say over, like the full coaching staff, GM, and offensive coordinator. As long as everything is laid out the way he demands, then we think we have our best chance of getting decent to good Aaron Rodgers. If that's the case, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. Personally, I don't.
And I'm going to stand here as the one that's been in the huddle with that guy and tell you the juice is worth the squeeze.
I agree if they're getting the guy you were in the huddle with.
No, but what I'm saying is they don't even need that guy. They don't need the version of that guy. They will have his brains.
I'm not sure if his brains is as good as it was 10 years ago.
It is. I mean, we're not talking outside of football.
Okay.
We're focusing on football. Like, he's going to pre-snap, get them in the best situations. Like, you don't unlearn those things. You improve. You build on that. You grow. You advance. Like, I'm excited about the buy-in, and when you talk about last year's team, that is the issue. If you don't have a group of 11 guys bought in, let alone the quarterback, he didn't believe in none of those guys. He threw the ball to Christian Washington on the first play of their offensive snap against the Minnesota Vikings when he was there, and never threw it to him again the rest of the game. He didn't believe in any of them. So how are you going to get the best version of those guys if the guy that is supposed to be believing in you don't believe in you?
And I guess my point is, if the biggest offense is, well, Mangini said it ended up being right, or at least some people think. Like, oh, drafting Jordan Love was smart because it put a chip on Aaron Rodgers' shoulder. His play had tailed off because he wasn't bought in, but now he has something to prove. It wasn't that he wasn't great in Green Bay. It couldn't have been great, but he didn't trust the receivers, didn't do the work he needed to do in order to be great, but now he will be again. My point is, if your whole season is relying on someone that fickle, and it's going to be, as long as everything is laid out for me, all produce, I don't think that is a smart season-long bet. I don't think you are able to operate an organization to where all of those things are going to stay in line in order to appease Aaron Rodgers, which it sounds like what we're saying is, as long as he's happy and feels in control, he'll play great quarterback.
I think that's a reach.
Yeah, we're not saying all
he lost his his quarterback's coach in Green Bay and got a new coach in LaFleur and was great. I mean, I don't think he has to be happy like that.
What was?
It's been 23 games since he threw for 300 yards. It's going to be 1,000 in 3 days before he gets another chance, and he's not going to.
You're never going to give him credit because you're a Patriots
I'll give him credit, but he hasn't thrown for 300 yards in over 1,000 days.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.